So this is now part 6 on this presentation. I think there is only one part remaining. Inshallah, next week I'll do it and finish with it. And this is the key part. We talked about we discussed all of these items now. What is the sources, or how previous religion, were corrupted, and why the Quran, Allah changes that Allah made, not the changes, but Allah also emphasized certain things to ensure that we don't corrupt. Unfortunately, we fall in the same things. And so, in order to the tadabbur of the Quran, there is several tadabbur, but one of them is the intellectual tadabbur, and you cannot start doing intellectual tadabbur unless you know certain terminologies in the Quran to make it easy. Then the terminologies that we talked so far with awliyaullah, who is a wali of Allah, what it means to be a muttaqi, what does it mean to be a mu'min, and then what is ibad al-Rahman. And then we looked at all of these, al-muttaqi, ibad al-Rahman, and mu'minun, and we said, okay, let's combine all of these traits. And the argument is, in this one, talked about enduring ibadah, because he said, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created us to be His abid, to be slaves for Him. And when you define what ibadah is, they tell you to obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But obey in what? It has to be spelled out, that I have to obey me. You have to do this, 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 and this, and this. And then the definition I come with, I said, okay, who are the people Allah promised to go paradise in the Quran? Are those people who have taqwa, the people who are believers, and the people who have ibadur rahman. So I said, if I look to traits of them, assembled it all together, and that will be the tree. And this is the tree. The tree has element of belief, has element of rituals, and has element outward of actions. I cannot judge your belief, and you neither can judge mine. These are all inside you. Allah only can judge, but I can judge your action, the fruits of your belief. That's what I am. So, and then we talked about, when we talk about Ibad al-Rahman, we said, who is al-Rahman? Because this is the first, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is the first verse in the Quran. Today, actually, I'm going to talk about one term that comes often in the Quran, Hanif. And this term, Hanif, is always mentioned in the Quran associated with Prophet Ibrahim, And, because of his face, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, follow the religion of Ibrahim Hanifan, follow this Hanafiya, that religion, that Hanif. If you look to Hanif, the term linguistically Hanif, it means inclined or bend. So what you find out in most of the definition of Hanif, you find out in the tafsir and the other books, that it means that the religion is deviated from all of the other religions. So if I look at it, if you deviated from something, it seems like it has this mindset that the something is, you are the deviant. They are the straight and you are the deviant. I said, that can't make any sense in that regard, So, but if you look at it, really, the definition of Hanif, we said it is it's bending or moving towards something, inclining towards something else. So I can incline away from something or incline towards something. That's why there is a famous, Arab companion called Ahnaf ibn Qais. And Ahnaf ibn Qais, why? Because his legs was bent like this, closer to each other. So I couldn't find a good picture. I was trying to delete this one, but I forgot to delete it. That is when it comes. So anyway, so you think about a Hanif is something coming close to each other. So when you say a religion of Ibrahim is Hanif, what is then bend toward the two? It is, inclined towards something. So if you look to Surah Al-Rum, and Allah gave us the definition, actually, also understanding of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. It directly means that the fitrat Allah, the natural, disposition, the fitra that Allah created in every human being, this is the true fitra. The religion is matching this fitra. So when you say Hanifan, that means a religion that inclined and toward your fitra. It doesn't deviate from your fitra. So I are not deviating from The religion is not deviating from something else. No, it is inclined towards something else, coming closer to the fitra. So direct your face toward the religion, inclining. That's why I translated Hanif this way, inclining towards the natural disposition, the fitra, which Allah had instilled in mankind. No change should be there in the creation of Allah. That is the correct religion. So the correct religion is the religion that its principle and commands is consistent with your natural fitr before you corrupt it. No, that is what the religion of Ibrahim is. Now, what was unique about Sayyidina Ibrahim? The unique Sayyidina Ibrahim, how did Ibrahim did not receive a revelation in the beginning? He believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his natural, disposition, by his fitrah. He kept looking, to the idol. He didn't, stupid idol, worship this idol, worship people is stupid, worship, moons. He started, look, and he said, wait a minute, none of them is good. Why he reached to this point? It reached by his natural instinct. And that's why it's amazing. If you look past history before this new generation, now, there never was an atheist. In all of the civilization, people also worshipped. They know there is God, there is a creator. Sometimes they made the wrong decision about the image, but they know there is a creator. Now, what Sayyidina Ibrahim comes in and said, this creator cannot be man-made. And it cannot be something that vanish. Today here and tomorrow is not there. And that's how he reached it. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasized this point, how Sayyidina, why Allah said, follow Ibrahim to create this idea. If your fitrah is pure, this religion of Islam will be the same. It's simple. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا. Ibrahim was not a Jew, nor a Christian. ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما. But he was, now, just for simplicity, I'm going to translate Hanif as upright because that's how I use it. But understand that Hanif means actually inclined to your natural fitrah, instinct fitrah. But it means upright because your fitrah is supposed to be the straight one and you incline toward the straight one, which is the things that Allah created in everyone. But he was upright Muslim and he was never an idolater. So, and then so many of ayat talk about this one here. وَقَالُوا كُونُوا هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارًا تَهْتَدُوا قُلْ بَلْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. By the way, you guys taking a picture of these things now because you notice Brother Anis have made a website for WhatsApp group. So if your name is on it, ask him to add it. And because I cannot post in the presentation on the website, but I can post it as part of your WhatsApp group. So don't have to do any of this. Okay, that's fine. But if all of the slides I have, and please, if you find some mistake in it, highlight to me so I can correct it also in my text. So anyway, if you look at all of these ayat about, مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَنْ أَحْسَنَ دِينًا مِمَّنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا, and who is better religion than the one who submit himself to Allah while being a do good and follow the religion of Ibrahim Hanifan. You find this happen, قُلْ إِنَّنِي هَدَانِي رَبِّي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ دِينًا قِيَمًا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. So it's all talk about this, that a Hanif, a Millat Ibrahim, the religion of Ibrahim or the way of Ibrahim, which is the true religion, is the religion that inclined to your true fitrah, the pure fitrah. Now, if I come to this, I said, okay, let me see if I can make a list of what Sayyidina Ibrahim have actually done, and does it violate any of our natural instinct? So I made a list here. I said, first of all, he believed that in God. I don't know at that point, Sayyidina Ibrahim knew Allah name or doesn't, although he should know Allah names. But I just to avoid is it he does or he doesn't? Because Sayyidina Nuh obviously know Allah, and because Allah name is known before even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that before. And he basically believed in Allah on his own. He figured out a line, and he believed that cannot all of those people, all of that injustice happen, cannot just to go past. There must be an accountability here at some point. And Allah who created everything, controls everything, is not going to leave people haphazard this without, imposing it. And he knew that he have to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know. And then he have to be generous and give it. Now started coming to manners now. He at this point probably didn't know how to pray, what type of prayer, the form of rituals and so on. So I didn't include it in. But he will be give a charity and avoid, basically miserliness. And we know this, when people came to his house, what happened? He went and brought, a sheep or, and slaughter it for them, to eat. So that indicates a generosity from the person. And then he is trustworthy and to protect the others. He speaks truthfully and testify honestly and use respectable language. He honor, is any of these things you said, oh no, it's not something we can naturally feel comfortable with. Honor, trust, and covenant faithfully, uphold the justice, honor the sanctity of life, avoid arrogance and hurting the feeling of others, exercise patience and forgive others and maintain contentment, stay humble and respond peacefully to ignorant people. Enjoin what is right and forbid what's wrong, maintain cleanliness and eat lawful food, preserve chastity, pray for a righteous family. I said, no, pray is to pray for a righteous family and all of them, and aspire others. If you look at all of this, do you think any of them, you said, well, this is not really something I don't feel comfortable with? Any one of them? If you look at this list and go back to the list of when I did describe all of the attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put for those people who have taqwa, those people who have belief, those people who have ibadur rahman, it is this list. The only thing was added to it at that one is that worship, basically the rituals. Because obviously I didn't know how Ibrahim, actually Ibrahim, I should go do Hajj too, because he's the one who established the Hajj, and he's the one built the house and so on. But this happened to him after. I'm talking about him before he received a revelation. That is his character. And all of this character is who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created for us. So we should not Islam. So anybody come and say, big, and the sad part about it, we fight about things and we talk about issues that have nothing to do with the fundamental of Islam. And we miss the fundamental and worry about the tertiary or secondary issue, which people differ in opinion to. Issues like, should I say to my friends to have a Christmas or not? If they tell you Merry Christmas, what ridiculous is this? This is what we have. The problem is people being slaughtered, and this is the issue that we have to debate. And this is an issue, frankly, has been discussed. I was listening sometime to one person who was giving a speech, a khutbah, and was so violent against, I don't want violent, very aggressive about you cannot do this. So I sent him, there is a website for about almost 25, more than 25 world jurists who have this European Fiqh Council, actually Fiqh Council and Research, And this issue is addressed. And they said there is nothing wrong with it. So you can read it. It's a very short one. But people, why, let everybody does whatever it is. This doesn't change the belief. But somehow we feel that if I do... Can you please, whoever has somebody have to unmute himself. I think Altaf have to mute himself. So anyway, let's go to the other issue, which is also a little bit interesting in the Quran. The word dhan. Can I do it after this? Yeah, because otherwise we'll get distracted. The word dhan and the word shak and the word ilm, the word dhan, which you translated as assumption, and the word shak, which is doubt, and the word ilm, which is knowledge. Now, you find these words comes in the Quran often enough. And sometimes it can create, an issue. So if you focus only in linguistically, you probably cannot capture it, but you have to look about the usage of it in the context in the Quran. So if you look linguistically in the lexicon or the Arabic dictionary, you see the word dhan, which translates as assumption, refers to the mind's perception of something with an inclination toward believing in. So the dhann, you dhann that this will happen, that's what you're inclined to. The shak, in the sense you hesitate between two possibilities, with neither one you prefer. So if you look in the Quran, you notice in this في Surah An-Nisa, the two terms have been used in the same verse, and this is related to Sayyidina Isa. وقولهم إنا قتلنا المسيح عيسى ابن مريم رسول الله, that وما قتلوه وما صلبوه ولكن شبه لهم, that they say indeed we have killed the Messiah Jesus son of Mary, the messenger of Allah, but they did not kill him nor did they crucify him. Rather we made it appear to them. إن الذين اختلفوا فيه, indeed those who differ over it are in shak. لا في شك. So the word shak here came in doubt about it. Then Allah continue, شك منه ما لهم به من علم إن إلا اتباع الظن وما قتلوه يقينا. They have no knowledge of it except following the ظن, the assumption now, and they certainly did not kill him. Okay, so here is we said, what is the dhann? Is the dhann that you believe something, the shak you are not certain. But if you look actually to probably a better definition, as dhann means you believe in something without having a proof of its existence. Now, so what happened? The people who are of Jesus, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that يظنون, that they actually have no evidence, and therefore they, there is basically they killed or not, they have no evidence of this. And the shak now is hesitating between something without having a proof of its existence. The people was uncertain about Jesus, whether Jesus killed, but they have no evidence to confirm otherwise. So if you really look, when I looked at it and tried to come with a better, clearer definition, I would say, actually, I think I'll go for this slide. The dhann is believing in something without having a material evidence for it. And the shak is disbelieving in something without having a material evidence that doesn't exist. So the dhann is believing in something without having material evidence that it does exist. And the shak is disbelieving without a material evidence. Now you tell me, related to belief, we believe in the hereafter. We believe in the angel. We believe in the day of judgment. Do you have any material evidence? Don't have any material evidence. So if we say, I adhun that there is a day of judgment, that will be a proper statement. Because, I have no material evidence. I believe in it, but I have no material evidence. So in this case, you find it out, and this solves a problem in, if you understand this. So what is a dhann is? The dhann is belief without having a material evidence. Because the trouble with it, a lot in some verses in the Quran, they translate dhann as certainty, as certain. Well, how can be a dhann be certain? And this is why you get, and the reason why they do this, because of this struggle with this verse. واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين. Let me put it here. استعينوا, this is the verse of Surah Al-Baqarah. Seek help with the patient and the prayer. There are indeed, but it's كبيرة إلا على الخاشعين. They are hard. It's hard, but for those humble in spirit, for khasha. الذين يظنون. So the first part to talk about what? Talk about believers. Then الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. And those who have done that they shall meet their Lord, and to him they shall return. You said, wait a minute. How can a person who believe, who do prayer and so on, have this doubt about, or have, assume? They assume or they believe. So when you look at the translation, most of the dictionaries, you find out assume. Some translators use assume. Some say bear in mind. Some say certain. Some know with certainties. You see all of these translations. But if you take the word dhan to be believing in something without having a material evidence, then that explain it. Then I say, who are certain without material evidence. That's what they done, that they will meet their Lord. And then also talk about, for Surah Al-Baqarah also, talk about the people who went with Talut to the battle. He said that those people, the story of Talut and Jalut and so on, when they came in, فَلَمَّا جَوَزُوهُ, when passed that river, when he, Talut, and the people believing with him crossed the river, they said, we have no match now with Jalut and his troop, but those who have done أنهم ملاقوا ربهم, but those who have done that they will meet their Lord, they said, how many times a small group have overcome a large group? So here is also what they have done. They are going to meet their Lord. That means they are certain, they believe that they are going to meet their Lord, but they have no material evidence. So just to keep that in mind, because that will explain another term, which is العلم في البتاع. So if we call zan is believing in something without material evidence, what is the ilm then? It's believing in something with material evidence. طبعا, if you believe that you create the material evidence for it, or you know something with a material evidence. If you do not know something with material evidence, if there is no material evidence, then you don't have a ilm, you have zan. But you cannot prove it because there is no proof for it. And that solves the problem, because in many of ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and says that He will test you, so لِيَعْلَمْ, so He would know. And we said, how can Allah test me to know? Because He already knew. Allah knows everything. For example, أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة في سورة آل عمران. أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم ويعلم الصابرين. Do you think that you enter paradise even, and here is I'm translating also, because what they say, you can translate it until Allah confirm, something. So it basically, لِيَعْلَمْ, to know. If you look at the translation, so Allah would know who is the believer and who is the disbeliever. It doesn't make any sense. The translation doesn't make any sense, because Allah should know. He knows everything, So, but the reality of it in this case, Allah doesn't, He already knew, but Allah have to create the material evidence. And this is why, the better translation is that Allah confirms based on a material evidence who are those who carry out jihad and who is patient. The same thing about the mu'mineen. وَمَا أَصَابَكُمْ يَوْمَ التَّقَى الْجَمْعَانِ فَبِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَلِيَعْلَمَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that Allah will basically confirm based on a material evidence who are the believer, and to confirm based on a material evidence who are the hypocrites. So in the same thing, وَلِيَعْلَمَ الَّذِينَ نَافَقُوا أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تُتْرَكُوا وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنكُمْ وَلَمْ يَتَّخِذُوا مِن دُونِهِ. The same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do you think you left alone without Allah confirming, based on a material evidence, who among you who is struggle, and don't take any other people, other, associates or something. So in this regard, now you come, and then the question becomes, okay, why Allah have to create the material evidence? If you already knew, wouldn't it be enough? His knowledge is enough in the judgment? And the answer is no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not judge people based on his knowledge, or even based on the record. Because the material evidence has to be developed to be recorded. But if Allah doesn't test any one of us, and He comes and says, you go to hell, you go to heaven, he said, wait a minute, why? That's not justice. Because a judge cannot judge based on his own knowledge. If a judge saw a crime, he stand as a judge in this case, he cannot judge. He have to have somebody have to create a material evidence for him to judge. So here is the same thing, and this is why when you look in the Quran, why Allah subhanahu, do you think people in that, and we talked about this so many times, when people face Allah and know they are going to be condemned them to hell, they will deny everything. They show them a videotape because the record, everything we do is recorded, not recorded by written, but recorded by video. Now it's easier. We can understand because the verse in the Quran says, Kitabul Marqum, that it's digitized book, that all record digitized book. And we know a digital book means a recording for everything. It will show to them, he said, that's not me. You know, it's no the angel. No, this they didn't make mistake. I don't trust in him. I mean, he will deny this. So the only way to prove that you have to testify about yourself, and therefore Allah Subhanahu, okay, well, let your hand speak, your leg speak, your skin speak. It's everything, and this is why Allah Subhanahu say, حتى إذا جاءوا شهد عليهم سمعهم وأبصارهم وجلودهم بما كانوا يعملون. That they basically their eyes, their ears, and their skin will testify. Now, then they will come and say, why are you testifying against us? You know, and then it's a very interesting. وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ لِمَا شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا. So they tell those people who denying him to the skin, why are you testifying against us? Because it's us, because the skin is your skin, so it's the same. And they said, أَنْطَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ. Allah have created, basically Allah made us speak. The one who created, he is the one made everybody speak. And so on. If you look at this ayat, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَأَنْكُمْ تَسْتَتِرُونَ أَنْ يَشْهَدُ عَلَيْكُمْ سَمْعُكُمْ وَلَا أَبْصَارُكُمْ وَلَا. Do you think that you were going to hide from us and deny everything, and you are not going to, your body parts is not going to testify against you in this regard? There's also another hadith is interesting, that narrated by Imam Muslim. And this is reported by Anas ibn Malik and narrated by Muslim. And this is actually proof the point I was making, that the man will come, that believer will say to Allah, my Lord, did you protect me from injustice? Then Allah will say, yes, I protected you from injustice. The believer will say, well, I do not accept any testimony except my own. And that's why, if assuming there is no proof now, there is no materialistic proof, he will not be able, Allah will not condemn him for it. So Allah will say, okay, today you are sufficient as a witness against yourself, along with the testimony of the owner of the scribe. Yes, I have the owner of the scribe, the angel, but you are also sufficient for yourself. And then Allah will seal his mouth and command his limbs to speak, and they will testify to his deeds. Subsequently, the individual will be permitted to speak again, at which point he will say to the limbs, woe to you, I was only defending you. So anyway, so this actually process, why Allah have to create and use the term لِيَعْلَمْ. It is not لِيَعْلَمْ علم that he doesn't know. No, to create basically the material evidence that support, basically the judgment that he will have. And then that means that this is the ultimate fairness and impartiality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is really the ultimate justice, because no one, the only way a crime can be proven, frankly, is the person to admit it. You have to admit. And that's why if you look to, we look at the punishment in Islam, the hudud, it's very hard to apply them, because the person have to come and admit, I did this. That's the only way you can really inflict the punishment of Islam. Now, just a little bit aside issue. If somebody, like stealing, somebody stole something that you cut his hand, punished in Islam. But can really, you caught somebody with money in his, or jewelry, your jewelry in his, that he possessed. They go investigate it, find the jeweler was him. Can automatically cut his hand because you prove that's your jewelry. You know why? Because they come and say, how did he get it? It is yours. So you have a proof, a certificate, everything is yours. But they will come and say, he will come and say, well, I was passing by the house and the window was open and the jeweler was in the table, and they get enticed with it and get, excited, so I took it. They cannot apply it has to be something. He has to break into something, you're hiding. I have my wallet and hiding my money, but if I have, that's why a guy from the bank who steals millions of dollars cannot punish him the had, because the money is in front of him. But now, can you punish him? Absolutely. That's why the rules of Islam, there's what you call the judge. Now the state can make certain rules, not the had, not the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but other things. Yes, you can put him in jail, you can beat him up, you can do whatever you want. And this is why you call it a ta'zir. Ta'zir means it's a rules. So it's not only the rules that Allah prescribed in the Quran, but no, a lot of other rules that apply. There are certain few things that Allah described, but this has to be proven, to it, you know, that it is correct, that it has been done. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ say, if you have any doubt, don't apply the had. And obviously the doubts can be created, but the guy never admitted himself in this regard. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك يا ربنا تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا به وعلمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم أوزعنا أن نشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علينا وعلى والدينا وأن نعمل صالحا ترضاه. اللهم اصلح لنا في ذريتنا وإنا تبنا إليك وإننا من المسلمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and many others. Oh Allah, grant to all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, grant us the power and the ability that we may be grateful for the favor you have bestowed upon us and our parents, and that we may do righteous deeds that are pleasing to you. Oh Allah, we ask you with every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weakness have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.